Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to the last addiction webinar for the year. Alhamdulillah, I can't believe we're at the end of the year. And today I've got Brother Mudassir, Sister Romy, and Sister Anam together with me. And our topic for today is creating a nurturing environment and the role of relationships in recovery. And I think this is just a beautiful topic to end the year off. For those who may be struggling with that, maybe it's our family members, maybe it's someone within our community or our extended family, maybe having problems with that or issues with that. And so what I really like to say is, if we look past the behavior or the symptoms that may be arising, I think, and look to what, because innately we're all beautiful souls on the inside. So if we look past that, set our limits with love and compassion and firmness. Sometimes we need to be firm, but in a neutral way. And that's when we can have compassion. So, yeah, I think this is a good place to start off. If anyone wants to add to that, would be amazing. Those of us who are in the room, you can definitely ask questions, jump on or raise your hand so we know to get to you. And yeah, let's see where this goes. Oh, I'm dark, so I'm going to move because the sun is behind me. My apologies, everyone. Go ahead. Oh my goodness.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam.
My first admission is this topic is as much as in the addiction recovery space. I think this is common in any context of how do you create an environment where someone feels welcome, loved, not judged. So that's my first thought. Okay,
Yeah.
as I was just listening to you, that's what came up for me, Daniela. Okay, and to me that thought frees me up first to see someone who is struggling, to see that human being as one among us, because what we are talking is true in any context with any relationship, not
That's
just
right.
in an addiction relationship. The only thing which I think is, may I say, a little more, I don't even know what the word is. I'm going to drop the word. Perhaps I might have in mind is they are a little more conscious than some of us, perhaps, because they already are battling with a lot of judgments themselves, their own judgments. So it's even more a good reason to create a space of listening, a space of no expectation. No, again, it's a tricky word to use, by the way. When I say no expectation, that doesn't mean we don't want good for them. Of course, we want good for them. But I guess when we have our personal expectations somewhere, we have this unconscious belief that I know better than what Allah wants for them, if that makes sense. That's a big one for me, because I really had to see that. I really had to see that in all my relationships in the first place, that I have unconscious expectations of myself and others, which wasn't helpful at all. So that to me is in the name of love. It could be innocent. I'm going to say the word innocent arrogance that I know better than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Innocently. That's why I'm saying innocently. Okay. We could just do that unconsciously. But truth being told, Allah obviously wants best for them more than we can ever want. I think when we really get that, then we are able to sit back and stop worrying and start just being with them, like engaging with them, not even holding back on engaging with them, like just being with them, hanging out with them, spending quality time with them. I'll pause there.
I really like the part that when Daniela was mentioning about neutral, coming from a neutral place, because subhanallah, given that the behavior of someone with addiction is, is not something that probably anyone is comfortable with. It's so important to come to a place where you don't have expectations or it's not personal anymore. And that, for a family and for parents or for the support, like the family and that they have around, that can be really, really, really hard as well. So it's so important that they understand that, those expectations and is what's actually getting on the way of showing up in a way that is actually might be helpful. And I think Brother Mudasa, you were saying something about sorry, went out of my head, but we're talking about the expectations, and that you were saying that innocently, acceptance, the acceptance of Allah has put this person through that test. And the more we submit and accept, that's their journey, the more we are able to, again, maybe show up with more neutrality and in more helpful ways. It's kind of like,
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go on now.
Subhanallah. Today, the topic we have, I would say it's really important, and it's a need. It's a need. We, as our loved one is suffering or they're going through something, or even our own self, it's really important in regards to our relationship to provide a nurturing environment. And it really gets hard when they are doing something that is not okay, and you're kind of in that moment that they're doing wrong. Why should I support them? Why should I help them? Why should I be nice to them? But it is important because they're already suffering. If we would leave them alone, if we would leave them the way they are, it's not gonna work like that. We have to show ihsan and we have to show up as well. And as I've experienced it as a first time, so I can see that it takes time and struggle to separate yourself from that person or from that being who is in this kind of a situation or who is struggling. But I've seen a beauty. I've seen a beauty when you would just separate yourself from that person. It takes time, it takes struggle. but it is important. Once you would be able to separate yourself from that person, your your thinking started settling down, and once your thinking would start settling down, it's quite easier to separate that person from their behavior. These two things are different. They are not one. We are born on our fitra, which is pure. Whatever they are doing and whatever they are, there is a difference. They both are not same. Yeah.
And subhanallah, it's very easy to get your feelings into it, and try to you get feelings around it because they might have done stuff to you. They might not be up to the level where you, in your expectations, you had a dream for them, especially if it's your children or someone very close to you. You had all these things that wanted to happen to them, so it gets very personal. So it's so important to just realize to leave your own feelings with the intention of helping them, of providing that nurturing environment that is going to benefit them in the subhanallah.
I think you said something really what everyone has, and it's really been beautiful. Something that Brother Matassa had mentioned, and you just kind of mentioned that as well, is that, well, how I'm like hearing you is like all of you is like, when we let go of the control, because a lot of the time we want to have control, how we want others to be, how we want them to reach our expectations. And, I'm sure we've got a whole imaginary list that we've made up. But the ultimate thing is to have, just a person who is doing the right things by Allah, however that looks, individually, I hope that makes sense. And of course, we want everyone, like all of our, loved ones or, those around us to be striving in that sort of way. And I think when we feel like we've lost sight of that control, which we never had in any case, we lose sight of that control. We want to do that even more because we're fumbling. We don't know how to do, we're falling into the story, and we're fumbling to really understand what's going on. Like, my world is collapsing, and so was the other person's world collapsing around them. So really, like, just seeing the separate realities, there's multiples of those. When we see that, I think clearly, is then, okay, what do I have to do right now? How am I going to help this person moving forward? Am I going to see them as a block or broken or whatever? Or go, okay, what do I need to do right now? And getting out of that story. So coming out of the objective into the subjective. And I probably got that wrong. Getting out of the subjective into the objective. I think that's right, isn't it? I'm like, hang on, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, and then we can know what to do in the moment. We're not taking the story personal. Like, yes, we're connected, but we're not going, we're not getting caught in our own thoughts. And I think that's so important for any relationship, especially those when we have loved ones that may be suffering with addiction. But I think that's valid in any relationship. Just seeing those two separate realities, like, my world's crumbling, so was theirs, or, the individuals, and going, oh, wow, okay, so how am I going to help myself? And how am I going to be the support for the other person as well? I think that is so important. And I'm not talking from an addiction way here. I'm talking just in a general, but I've seen how that's happened, how it's, and not only like I've seen that happen, but the after effects and the growing, not of just, the individual who's supporting, but those around as well. And that, I think, is I'm going to say this word, I'm not meaning it in any haram way, but that's where the magic happens. That's where the beauty happens, where you can see, you know, people growing because, you know, they're being seen as an individual rather than seen as their behavior or, you know, whatever things they're doing in front of us. And that's hard. It's hard to separate ourselves or to separate, you know, the individual from, you know, the way they're presenting themselves at the moment. But it's like a, you know, help I'm losing it type thing. And that's really what it is, an imbalance. That's how I see it. Not very nice, but still it's an imbalance. Yeah.
I heard someone share this a couple of days back. I think this is from Bill Pettit. I think so. So apparently he mentioned something like people confuse love for worry. People, you hear
Can you
me?
repeat it, Rata?
Yeah.
Because
What did
they
you,
lost
yeah.
you.
Yes,
Yeah,
people
love with what?
confuse love for worry. Yeah, we.
Yeah.
Okay,
Subhanallah.
that really got to me, and I really laughed, and it was very humbling because I was doing that. Okay, I caught myself doing that in the name of love, which we think is love. It seems like a good idea when I'm constantly thinking about someone I love, especially thinking about things I don't want for to happen for them, for it to happen between us, by just creating that again and again, again and again, again and again. It seems like a good idea. Like, why will I not think about my loved one? It seems like a good idea. However, it doesn't work like that. Because this is what needs understanding. We are talking about creating a space. The core of today's topic, in my opinion, this is how I see it. We're talking about creating a space, which means with nothing on it. We're talking about not a physical space. We're talking about a space where we could be living in the same house, but we may not be sharing the space. We may not be enjoying each other's company because there is no, I don't even know what to call that space, because that is not a physical space. It is but that's the spiritual space we are talking about, which is cleaner and purer and almost empty in a healthy relationship. On the other hand, it's murkier and cluttered when there is an unhealthy relationship. And what clutters it? Thoughts. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else, which is good news and bad news. Good news because it's not real things. Like my wardrobe is cluttered right now. My wife's been telling me, you're going to do something about your wardrobe. It's been overflowing. Okay. So I've done my part. Okay, you take care of your wardrobe. I'm not going near it. It's going to come. It's going to fall on me type. Like I haven't uncluttered my wardrobe in a long time. So I'm really getting it, but I haven't done it. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, I'm going to take a step back.
Because yeah, it
Go
was
on,
the
go on.
physical part of uncluttering your wardrobe
That's
versus
right.
yeah.
Yes, thank you, sister. Yes. the non-physical part is what we carry in our mind. It weighs us down. The clutter in the wardrobe is not weighing me down. Honestly, it is not. It's there somewhere in back of my mind, but it's more for my wife though. Yeah, like she gets really irritated. Like whenever it comes to, like my clothing, like she does the laundry. So that's her department. So she like, okay, not going near the wardrobe, and that's her trigger. But not in my mind. My wardrobe doesn't occupy my mind space, but it occupies her mind space. There's a classic example of that space I'm talking about. So when we have this worryful thoughts, stuff we don't want it to happen, obviously that weighs us down. And guess what? When we are with that human being, they feel that. They feel that energy. It doesn't you together, it actually ripples you away. You want to move away. You don't like that energy. And here's the problem. The bad news, because if you think it's coming from them, Allahu Akbar, then we start thinking that person needs to change. No, no, no. It's your thoughts about that person, which is what is so burdening. So the good news is when you take care of that, because there's no truth to it, absolutely no truth to it, zero truth, okay? That space gets freed up, really freed up. And when that space gets freed up, how does that space get freed up? Very simple. I can't know what needs to happen. Very simple. Only Allah knows. But I have to admit, if you have been living with this person for ages, it may not look that simple. It may not look that simple. Okay. But please understand, what we are talking about here is how things work, not how we think things work. Two different things. Completely two different things. That's where it can look like the same thing. No, 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 no. Okay? We are talking about how things work, how Allah has designed our psychological system, our spiritual psychological system. Okay? So it's my job. It's my job to take care of my space. Not, this is what I do for them. For the love of them, I take care of this space. I breathe and let go of everything which is not true. It's like coming fresh to that relationship, okay, without any baggage. The truth is, in this very moment, only Allah can change like this. Like in this moment, Allah can make that change happen, but only if we believe. That's the catch. If we believe that, we will see that. There'll be opportunities. But if we don't believe that, we can't even witness. The opportunities will come knocking and it'll go. Come knocking, it will go. And then we say, Ya Allah, I'm not answering my duas. So I really hope that we honor this sacred space, this non-physical sacred space, our mind space. And I want you to also see, the last thing to say is, Allah has made our job easy. And that's the love of Allah. If only I take care of this, myself, my mind space, everything else gets taken care. Actually, that's a relief. That's a big relief if you know that's not the difficult part. The difficult part is misunderstandings. What I believe to be true, which is not true. But the real part is very simple. The real game is simple. So the more I am in this understanding, the more I hang out with people in this understanding, subhanallah, it humbles me how Allah has made our role simple.
Just remember something that Harry was talking about the other day, and it was about we need to stop lying to ourselves, you know, because we believe all these stories that we tell ourselves. We really believe our lies, subhanallah, and you know that can have the impact between, you know, just that beautiful neutral space or that negative space where you go to, where, you know, when then you show up with that negative energy that the other person picks up, subhanallah. And, yeah.
And there is one more thing that I've noticed as well. When someone else have that clutter, it's really easy to get into that. It's really easy to get into that clutter. And for that, what you can do about it, it's really important. First of all, the first step is just take a pause. Just take a pause, take a break, and see where things are for you. Once you would be able to see that it's another one's energy, it's not yours, it doesn't belong to you, it's another one energies, or the clutter is in someone's other head, it's not yours. Just separate yourself from that so that you're not caught up with that clutter. But yeah, you just have to keep that in your mind. That clutter doesn't belong to you, that is coming from someone else. It's their own head, it's their own mind, it's their own thoughts simply that they're not able to manage as yet. But still, you have to be patient with your own self and for the others as well.
I actually have observed that, you know, one person was in this beautiful energy and wanted to, you know, share beautiful news. And when the other one comes and shows up, they're in a completely different state. And subhanallah, you know, it gets contagious, but now it becomes a negativity from one to the other, not one to the other one, and they fall into those cycles that, you know, they're so used to as well. So when you said that, you know, just beware that, you know, the other person's energy is not your energy, and try to keep neutral, I guess, at that time as well. And just hold space, realizing, and this is what's so important about understanding, you know, the psychology of the other person, because we could have the best intention and the best energy, but they're not in that space at that time. So maybe that's when you can hold that space for them and not take it personal, because then when we take it personal, it's going to be a ping pong of, you know, negativity from here to there, and then gets really messy.
That's beautiful. Alhamdulillah. It's so true. I just want to open it up to our guests in the room. If you've got any questions that you'd like to ask, please jump on. I'm sorry, I'm not sure who 1, 2, 3 years, and that's okay to stay anonymous. But yeah, you can ask questions if you like to, or something that may have come up for you. Please do, you know, ask. Yeah, there's no right or wrong a question or a silly question or anything like that. But yeah, as it is for you guys, yeah, just opening that up for you, inshallah. All good.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum, sister. I just had a quick, just similar to the discussion that I'm hearing regards to creating an environment. Sorry, I caught up a bit late about, you know, how creating the environment, healthy environment without kind of you know, where sometime, say for example, you yourself may have a bad day and you're in a certain kind of mood, or nothing personal towards anybody else, but you know how each person may have their certain moods as they begin the day, or on a certain day or time in their life, something that we have to
Mhm.
respect and give space to each other without actually taking it personally. How do you deal with that in a space where spouses or families, and you know, and then one, especially in a relationship with marriage relationship like spouses, you know, one tend to take the other one's personality at that time moment. They may be a little bit quiet, be silent, not actually saying much. They may have their own personal, because we all have our personal journeys in
Yeah,
with many things as we are trying to get on with our day-to-day lives. And you don't necessarily always discuss everything. At the moment you feel something like, oh my gosh, I'm having a bad day because of this, and that. Sometimes you may just ponder and reflect quite silently, because you just want to put things in a perspective in your mind, and
mhm.
you just want to put things right, and then you just want to move on to the next step. When someone attacks you for that being silent because you're trying to create that space for yourself, and if that someone attacks you and they are your family, maybe, or maybe your spouse, how do you deal with that person when they attack you, saying that you've done something wrong, or you're doing something wrong, or
I
you're the
think,
blame?
yeah. Well, understanding, I think, the role of separate realities and that we're all living in that is first and foremost, you know. And when we are like when we have this understanding and being grounded in that. So, you know, the first thing is, like, even if someone is attacking you, that's our perception of that. So watching how our thoughts are in that moment as well. The other thing is that if you find that someone is, you know, attacking in inverted commas, as I said, it may not really be real, or because that's your perception. They may just be inquisitive or maybe worried or whatever about what may be going on for you. And really, it is just about letting them off the hook. I've got some thinking going on right now. It's got nothing to do with you. I'm okay. And because they may not know that, you know, chances are if you've been out at work or they've been out at work and they've come home and they've seen you in a, you know, a state, you know, just letting them know that I've just got thinking going on. I've got some sad thoughts. It's got nothing to do with you. You know, you say it in your own words, of course, and that may be enough. It's about putting our hands in our pockets and zipping our lips, you know, if we see that it is an attack. Again, though, that would be our perception of it. And knowing that our wisdom will always guide us in the best way as to how to respond, and not taking that how they say it personally, because that's our thought in the moment, based on, especially in those moments when we are, you know, have got our own thought storm going on. Anything that anybody says could be the wrong thing, whether they mean it in a good way or a bad way. It's your thought, it's your perception as to how it's coming, how it is being projected to you, how you're thinking about it in that moment through your own power of thought, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that makes
So
sense,
what
Sister Daniela. Yes, very, very, yes, mashallah. But what I'm saying, Sister, you know, sometime maybe the say spouse relationship, especially because obviously it's very intimate and close to people. But they when they inquire to see why you may not be saying something, or maybe someone adapt to a personality. They prefer to be quiet, they prefer to be a little bit more subtle and quiet, and not be so loud and rowdy, or and the other is expect you to be or why are you quiet, even though you may say what you just said, like, look, I'm just having a little ponder, you know, my own thoughts, you know, I'm just, you know, I've got some thought to go over in my head, and you know, but then they label you as, I know, they give you a label like, oh, you're miserable or you're moody or you're because there's a lot, sister. There's a lot
Well,
happening in the world. Yeah.
yeah, but if they're giving you a label and you're taking it and going, you know, and that's making you even more agitated, then you're taking
Uh-huh.
that personally.
Okay. So is
And
it
so
is
it's
it
like,
better?
even if they say that, you can either let it go and it will be like water off a duck's back and that zipping our lips, or you can say something. Allow your wisdom to guide you. If you say
Yeah.
something that is, you know, well, you can do that if you want to, but watching how you are reacting. If you're saying, hey, no, I'm not, in a neutral way, then that's okay, because there's no emotion behind that. But if it's coming out in a different way, yeah, watch out. You know, because
Yeah.
that will be like the battle of the egos, and we love those. No, we don't like those
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
But you know what I
Well, I
mean?
think
That's what
yeah.
it's about.
I think sometimes, sister, you know, when you try to converse with the other person, obviously it could be vice versa. But I think I see the reason behind, like, okay, I want to help you. I want to know you're okay. And you know, what you're saying, I'm hearing is, so ignore even if they attack you, perhaps maybe in a certain way. So my response should be, don't take it with a pinch of salt and don't take it seriously. So what you're saying, like, don't take it too personally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make
And
it lighthearted.
there's another thing too, that you can't control how they're gonna act. You can't
Yeah.
control the way they think, in their perspective, they separate reality. So they're gonna react in whatever way they react. So yeah, like Daniela was saying, you just don't take it personal. And inshallah, you know, when there's the time, you could talk about it. There's gonna be a time as well, you know, all these moods that go up and down is temporary. So there is that time for next time for clarification or to have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Sometime it's I don't know, it seems to be roller coaster all the time with this mood or going highs and lows, and it's very draining. It's very draining. It's very and I personally find it takes a lot of space in one's life, and it takes away a lot of time that you can actually utilize in other areas to benefit your day-to-day life, you know. But when you have someone there expects you to be in their ways of happiness or their way of being, their way of, like, you have to be smiling, you have to force the positivity out of yourself, you have to, you know, like you know, positivity, happiness, it cannot be, as a human being, it's not consistent all the time, because we're human beings and we have many layers. So therefore we have good days and bad days and sad days and happy days and no, good mood days and bad mood days. But nevertheless, it is important that we pull through each and every day by being positive, by trusting Allah, and making effort as much as you can. But what I find perhaps quite irritating is when a person around you expects you to be that line of positivity, or just to keep them happy, you have to remain happy. You know that feeling? This is what I'm saying. It's just to keep somebody else happy, you have to remain happy no matter what. No matter what you're feeling, no matter what you have gone through, no matter what you're going through, no matter what your worry and concern may be. But at the same time, if you were to share with this particular person that what you may be concerned or going through, to ask them for advice or support or something, then they are not there. They're not willing to give you that. They're not willing to give you that. They're not willing to support you. But at the same time, they expect you to give them the environment that they feel for. Whereas I want to be happy, so please be happy around me.
The one
Mhm.
thing that I like to share, sorry, Brother Madassa, I know that you've got your mic off, but just realizing that our innate state is being happy. So if we're not in that moment, the only thing that is changed is our thought. but we can always bounce back to that happiness by letting go the negativity. Once we let go of that negativity, we're already in our innate state. We're already in our fitra. So if we're creating a story around that, about, you know, our moods and blah, 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 and whatever, that's our story. Yes, we can have sad thoughts. We can have, you know, angry thoughts. We can have blah, blah, blah thoughts and whatever. When we're in those moments, that's what's keeping us down, is those thoughts in the moment, because we are ruminating on that particular topic.
Okay.
Otherwise,
So-
once we let go of that, we're naturally going to be in our innate state. There is
Yes.
no buts about that.
I mean, it's better to be in that state, sister, than be in a ruminated state. I agree totally with you. But what happened when someone upsets you? The very same person you're around.
You're taking
they
it
have
personal.
upset you.
You're taking it personal. Nobody can upset you.
No. So
Nobody
when
outside of you can upset you. It's you who've got upset thoughts or sad thoughts
Right.
or whatever
Okay.
thoughts is going on.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with the person outside. Brother Madassa had just shared that with us.
Okay, I didn't hear that actually. Yes. So, sister,
Oh yeah,
in
maybe.
any, yeah, I get you where you're coming from. I see, and I have no intention to whether I advise somebody or myself or anyone to remain in that state if someone have hurt you or upset you, and there's been a reasonable enough someone who might have said something that without caring or carelessly to you to say to me, yeah, and it has hurt me, and they have said some words that was upsetting.
Sis, is it okay if I pause you?
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay. So I think you've already heard something, but you're still going back to the stories in your mind. Okay. I'm wondering, what have you heard so far which has been helpful? Take a
I
moment
think
to check.
Mhm,
Don't be
mhm.
in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. Take a moment to check. What did you hear which has really helped you so far?
I think what Sister Daniela also said is how you perceive things, how you take it. So how personally I take something that will make a difference in my thought and my actions and my behavior. And the other thing is it is up to me whether I let go or I allow it to ruminate in my head and I live with it. I allow it to go round and round circle in my head. Then I am the one who's living in a loop of the same thought of whether I was hurt by somebody or whatever they said to me is the choice is upon me. So I have two choices. I can either be in this direction or I can say to myself, okay, I don't care. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to allow this to ruin my day. I'm not going to allow this to drown me today or take my energy. But I understand myself as well, brother, because I know perhaps maybe the emotional side, needs to be more regulated and more kind of
Okay,
dealing
I'm
with and
pause you there,
handling.
sis, if you don't mind me. Okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
pause you there. Okay. I'm glad you're hearing what you're hearing, but at the same time, don't try to intellectually get this, sister. You will confuse yourself.
Okay.
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 Because what we are pointing to is beyond intellectual concept.
Mhm.
Probably understand it intellectually, but you may not get it in your heart, like the truth of it. For example, all we are seeing, sister, the source of our feelings is thought. Simple. The source of feelings is nothing else. No human being, no circumstances, nothing. It's thought. Our thought. It can't come from anywhere else. It comes from our thought. That's all we need to understand. This needs to be seen. Okay. This just needs to be seen, sister. When I say seen, see, we are explaining something with words, okay? But you already know this in your fitra state. You're born with this knowledge, which is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are helping you wake up to realize it. We can't teach you this because there's nothing to be learned here but unlearn. There's a lot of things which we have learned is counterproductive to the truth. Thinking somebody else can make me feel bad or good is a lie. It doesn't work like that. The source of feelings is our own thoughts. When you get this, sister, you're going to breathe. When you're not okay, you're going to bring in self-compassion to understand that you're having thoughts, which is not very kind. So you're going to just breathe. You're going to be kind with yourself. You're not going to be really worrying about what the other person is saying. Obviously, at the end of time, it will look personal. You're not taking it personally. It will look personal to anybody. That's how it works. So obviously, that's when you're very kind with yourself by giving yourself that space not to take seriously, nothing, zero. You're not in your wisdom at that point of time. You're offline. You're not online. You're in no Wi-Fi zone.
Okay, I see where you're coming from, brother, and it makes perfect sense. Alhamdulillah, and it's the best way forward. I totally agree with you. Actually, I do. But one of my other concerns, brother, I'm sorry, I won't hold up too long. I know I'm asking you too much questions, and but one of my other concerns is how do you deal with the people or person in the environment they are living, and what you've just said. For the sake of our conversation, say, yeah, I accept this. That's how it's the best way forward. And it is. It's been kind to myself. It's been good to myself. And it's good for my own well-being. And I can motor on in my life and move forward. And suppose I accept that, and that's my mindset and my mentality, and that's the best way forward. So how do I deal with, or do I have to deal with somebody who may irritate you, someone who may directly or indirectly sometime, trigger you with things. And I understand, I kind of answer came to my head now, like, okay, have a conversation, talk, try to be
No,
understandable.
but not when it feels like they are irritating me. You understand? If you think, which means your mind is telling, source of that irritating feeling is that person. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Right. So which is a lie. That's not true. Okay. So
True. But I'm seeing
when
it, brother, it's front of me. I'm seeing the irritation in front of me, around me,
yes,
in the same room.
yes, yes,
I'm
true.
seeing this person.
Yeah. No, the feeling is true, sister. The feeling is true. We're not saying the feeling is not true, but the source of the feelings cannot come from outside. It only comes from our thoughts about what that person is saying, about what just happened, about that tone, that word, that non-word nod, etc., whatever. So the best way to have a conversation with anyone, to deal with anyone, is when you're in your wisdom, when you're not feeling, oh my God, this person is doing this to me, which means you're not in your wisdom. That's not the best time to have a conversation, because that is going to be like two live wires. Okay? It's like two live wires. That's when it goes like, zoop. Like, what that when that happens, right? It's going to be like depending upon the voltage levels, the effect of the shock higher. Okay.
Mm.
So the higher the voltage, the higher the shock, and
Mm.
you know what happens after that. Okay.
After
So
that.
the
So,
best
brother,
thing is, yeah,
mm,
the best thing is to
have
do,
you-
hang on for a minute, the best thing is to do is, even if there is one live wire, it can't do anything without the other live wire. You understand me,
so
sister?
true, so true. Yes.
When you don't engage at that point of time, even if that one live wire is not you, if it's the other live wire, if it is the other person, let's say, for an example,
Mm. Mm.
if you don't engage, it will diffuse by itself. Okay.
Mm.
It's okay not to be right. It's okay not deal with things. It's okay for people to think what they want to think.
Mm.
Yeah. But
Even
when
if
you
they
go back,
insult you, even if
yes,
you
it's
insult your
okay.
brother.
It's okay, because nobody can insult you unless you take that personally. When you take those thoughts personally that they are insulting me. Okay. Now I know this may sound like being a saint. No, no, no. We are just telling how the system works. Okay. It's like, see, we can go. I think you are getting this already. Just that, Sister Romy, you jump in.
Yes, you remind when while you were talking, you reminded me of, how before I learned all this, and I was reflecting on it once I learned this and I got it, that I used to, for example, have an argument with my husband. And then subhanallah, I go back on my fitra state, I go back on my wisdom, and then I completely forget about it. And then I will come back to it and say, what am I silly? If I wait till the time when I forget about it, then I'm being so silly. I'm not really dealing with it. And subhanallah, it took me to learn about actually that we actually address things from that space when it's not personal anymore. And for me, that meant that I completely forget about the issue and I don't need to deal with it anymore. I actually need to not address it, nothing. But I had that thinking, that lie that I was telling to myself that, I actually need to keep taking it personal and deal with it and actually tell him and all these things, it's kind of like, it's just reminded me of my own process, of my own journey on that. And I don't know if that helps or not, but
No, that's
it
good,
is so.
sister. No, mashallah, very, very good, powerful way. Actually, you give yourself the power. You don't give power to the other person. So that's the best way to
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
develop
Alhamdulillah.
ourselves.
I love your words. I love those words. You don't give power. So the power Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, sister, okay, has
Yeah.
given us the power, but we can give the power to anything else. We
Mhm.
can, any you
Yeah.
really hit the nail on the head. Those words are so subhanallah. I want you to see the kindness of Allah here, sister. Okay. Not even trying to even get this like strategy. Okay. No, 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 no. Just see the kindness of Allah. Okay. The power is always with us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I understand, but obviously, we as a human being, we are complex and we all have our own personal personality and who we are, what we are. Um, I think one of the other questions that I wanted to ask from you, see what you would say, is what I have kind of touched up earlier about the insult, or they have said some hurtful things, and what I'm saying, brother, how would you deal with someone who's maybe developing into the habit towards you quite frequently, quite often, but suppose I carry on myself what you said and sister said, Daniela said, and I work on it, and I keep myself high up in terms
You're
of
trying to work it
really.
out though against this. You'll know your wisdom will guide you and shine you to
Mm,
will tell you what you need to do. We can't tell you
mm,
how or what you need to
no.
do, but your wisdom
Mm,
will definitely tell you what you need to do. So don't stop getting into this and allow
mm,
it to go here into your heart. And that's
mm,
when that true guidance really comes to light.
mm.
In
So
any
what
situation, even in the most difficult situations, we rely
mm,
on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost. When we
mm,
hand over those reins of our control, which we don't have in any case, back to Allah, that's when we can just go, okay, what do I need to do right now? Where is Allah in the picture right now? Is what am I doing right now pleasing to Allah? Yes or no? No? Okay, let's pivot.
So what you're
And
saying
so
is don't react.
this is turning into
Mhm.
like a coaching call, and we're here to do a webinar. So we really need
Okay.
to sort of, you know, steer it away from that type of thing. I
Okay.
hope you don't mind. But if you
No,
do
no,
want
no.
further coaching around that, you know, you can join us in the, you know, you can join us in other areas with that. And, you know, I would really suggest that you reach out to one of us,
Okay.
so we can guide you in the right way.
Thank you,
Inshallah.
Jazakallah, sister.
Well, yeah,
Can I ask the brother, the brother,
we're
I'm
gonna
sorry, I
have
don't
to
have.
though, sorry, sister, we're gonna have to kind of, we've come through for an hour now, and so we're
Okay.
really running out of time.
Okay, sister. No
So if
problem.
it's gonna be really quick, then yeah, we can do that. Otherwise, we'll have to wait until, oh, actually, this is our
No,
last one for the year. So
I'm gonna finish now. I'm going to finish now, sister. I will finish it. I was just wondering, is it possible if I could speak to brother like in more of a uh, kind of private conversation, like directly? Is it possible I can contact him in any way
maybe
to
you
speak
can
to him?
reach to the you know, through to us in the help desk, and we can see what we can do around that. I can't guarantee yes or no, but yeah, let's
Okay.
leave that
Okay,
there for the
sister.
moment.
Okay. I
Inshallah.
have your number. I have your contact. I have your number. So inshallah, maybe I'll message you, inshallah.
Inshallah. All right, no
Inshallah.
worries.
Jazakallah. Thank you so much, Pana.
Well, yeah,
I really appreciate your help, and may Allah reward you and bless you all. Thank you so
Ameen.
much. Jazakallah khair.
Ameen.
Barakallah feekum. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum assalam, sis. So I think that might be a good place to finish off for the evening or day, whatever
Yes.
time it is for you.
Yes.
Did you want to add anything before we last final words? Brother
No, I
Mudassir,
just
Rami?
want to read what Sister Khadija has typed on a Facebook group.
Oh,
Just like she just heard what we have shared, and she shared it in her own beautiful way, which is, you give yourself power, you don't give us the power, and that power to ourselves comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
yeah.
I think that's a beautiful way of complete the truth. That's the absolute truth.
Yeah.
It's incomplete to notice that power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think that's
Alhamdulillah.
a beautiful place to just see that and pause there, I guess.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you for ending it off on that beautiful note. I feel real like after you read that, it's, you just feel like I don't know about anybody else, but you just feel in that beautiful space. Alhamdulillah. I mean, it's been like that for the whole session, being here. But I think just finishing off with that is like going off with a bang. Alhamdulillah. In a good bang, that is. Good. Alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khair, everyone.
Jazakallah khair, everyone. Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.
Brother Mudassir and Romy, can you just hold on for a moment, and I'll end everything else.
Yep.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Anything that we've said that is good is from Allah. Anything that we've said that is bad is from us. May Allah forgive us. Take care, and we'll see you next year with our webinars, inshallah. So take care, have a good break, and we'll see you then. Assalamu alaikum.